about yoga and its essence in our life. And so typically, if I say uh, our life is driven by the choices that we make and the decisions we take. So to help us out, uh, we have two special uh, one person with us. One of them is Vijay ji, and we have Surya ji as well. Both are joining the session to guide us and take some of our questions. So I would welcome each one of you to today's session by Canada Vihangam Yoga team. So before I begin, I would like to give a quick, introduction about, both of you. I'll not take more time, and I know more as whatever I speak, it will not be enough. But still, for the benefit of all the participants, I'll begin with Vijay ji. Vijay ji was, born in a family which is deeply associated with Vihangam Yoga, and uh, he did lot of prachar, lot of services for Vihangam Yoga while he was in Bangalore. He came to USA in 2008 and laid the foundation for all the uh, the seva that we through which we have managed to connect so many people and to establish even the North America Institute of Vihangam Yoga in 2009. And he was pretty instrumental. He's one of the core and founder members of there. He's presently in New Jersey, USA, and he's been inspiration for so many of us, including myself. I know how much questions I had with Vijayji in the initial part of my journey. And then I'll quickly switch focus to Suryaji, which is probably the most experienced among ourselves. She's been in USA from 1994. She stays in Maryland, and she have seen like lots of ups and downs in her life, and managed to come out of that in flying colors. And she's being giving back a lot to society by conducting a lot of yoga sessions. And she got connected with Vihangam Yoga in year 2020, and she takes everyday meditation session in USA at present. So once again, I would like to welcome you, Surya Aunty ji, from every one of us. And now, if we move ahead, I'll stop my video, and probably it will be better, if we see the speakers more than me. And what we're going to do in next few minutes, just to lay the foundation well, we have some questions which can potentially help us in every possible way, probably get a better perspective about yoga itself. And uh, probably I can with your permission, I can direct some of the questions specifically to you. And hopefully we get more clarity on that. And for all the other participants, let's say that if you have any further questions, like, we can always have that and noted that if it doesn't get answered in this process. Okay, so Suryaji, once again, probably I'll begin with you. There was a question, uh, you look pretty like energetic to us. And as even Raj uncle told to us, that age is just a number. And what we know, like, you are 77, but probably you are the youngest among ourselves in terms of the energy level that you have. So the question that we have for you, Surya Aunty ji, how was your daily routine before joining Vihangam Yoga? if you could share, little bit with us, that will get, some benefit to us.
Thank you. Jai Sadgurudev to all. Good morning. Thanks to the Vihangam Yoga team, Canada, for inviting me on the occasion of International Day of Yoga. My name is Surya Allamraju. It is a pleasure to be here today on the occasion of International Day of Yoga. On this day, I want to talk about a little bit about yoga. What is yoga? Yoga is a priceless gift of ancient Indian tradition. The word yoga is derived from the Sanskrit root is, meaning join or unite, symbolizing the unity of mind and body, thought.
I believe there's some network challenge on Surya Anti's end. What I can do meanwhile, while she is, trying to get back with us, I can probably, ask a question to Vijayji, if that is okay, Vijayji.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my honor.
So the question that we have to you, we want to learn and want to know, what role does Vihangam Yoga play in your life? Because you've been associated with Vihangam Yoga for so long, and probably one of the most experienced among us. So would you like to share, what role does it play in your life, Vijayji?
I mean, when you say that most experience, it makes me or makes others feel that I'm too old. So please, yeah. First, I definitely pay my honor, my respect, my devotion to the holy feet of Sadgurudev. And again, I pay respect to our senior members here who are inspiration for us. Raj Sagar ji from Canada and Surya ji, who has joined from USA. They are our inspirations. Surya ji's statement is that Surya ji also says that don't ask me my age, even though I'm 77, but I feel like 40 years old. So I'm 40 years old. That's what she says. So she's younger to me because I'm 42. Yeah, what role Vihangam Yoga plays in our life? In your life, you lead actually two dimensions of your life, two dimensions. One is the physical dimensions, which will always have ups and downs because it's full of uncertainties in your life. And then there is a spiritual pursuit of your life. And there is certainly a degree of certainties in that, provided you happen to be in the right path. So Vihangam Yoga is that, place of certainty for me, which is a constant source of satisfaction in my life. I would like to just make you feel about it by an example.
There it is. You can hold that if you want to. Now we're going to get this thing back.
Somebody wanted to say something? No. Oh. Yeah, let's say, imagine that, for example, you are at a source location called A, and you have to go to a destination called C, which goes via B. You have a choice. There are two trains that go from A to C. One train that goes halfway to B, and then it deviates from there. and you have to onboard onto another train from B, which actually started from A only, which goes straight from A via B to C. So you have two choices. Either you onboard a train that take you to B, and then you have to have the alertness in you that I have to get down at B, otherwise I'm going to deviate from there, and onboard on the train that goes straight to C. Which train will you choose and why? Of course, your first priority would be to choose the train that goes straight from A to C, because that's your final destination and this is your source location. And the reason you'll choose that train that takes you to the ultimate destination is because you want to lead a peaceful life. You don't want to be, in restless that, oh, halfway I have to then switch gear or switch train to come to the right one. So when it comes to the business of why we came in the human life, why did we come in the human life? What is our business for coming in the human life? When we pay attention to it, then you'll find that, yeah, you may have several secondary goals in your life, which could be very physical in nature. But then the prime business of coming into human life is to make the full use of this life, make the full use of all the opportunities that is given in this life. And when you know that Vihangam Yoga is that path which does not leave you halfway, but in the 5 steps journey, in the 5 levels of Vihangam Yoga journey, starting from whatever the kind of suffering or the bondages or uncertainties in our life, whatever state you are in, from here, how it can take you into the mode of certainties, in the mode of peace, in the mode of clarity in your life, and ultimately take you to the ultimate destiny where you happen to not only realize yourself about who you are, but also realize the omnipresent supreme consciousness. The moment we talk about the realization of this source, the happiness that exists with that ultimate destiny, with the ultimate consciousness, we are all puzzled. What is this about? They're talking about something which is present in each coordinate of this space and which has the ultimate vibration and the source of happiness. Well, I get happy with maybe going to party or doing this or that, but people talk about spiritual goal. People talk about attaining the experience of supreme being, experience of Almighty. How does it matter to me? Personally, in my journey, I would say that, in this life, if you are dependent for your happiness, for your peace of life on the materialistic goal, then you are surely heading to all the uncertainties, all the restlessness, and all the dissatisfaction in your life. It is very relative in nature. So you'll surely realize it very soon if you maturely think about how the life has been so far. You will come to this conclusion that there's absolutely no source of happiness in this materialistic life which could be permanent in nature. Even though there was a source of happiness for you for some time, over a period of time, that will fade down, and you'll soon realize that the happiness that I wanted and to which I was dependent on, the same thing now looks very feeble to me, as if I need to look for something else. Fortunately for me, when I would say, I have been blessed and chosen by the master to be the medium for spreading this technique in abroad, I would say that day was a big transformation day for me. And I knew that now my destinations are in an able hand. I would like to give an example about what I mean, what this Vihangam Yoga has done in my life. You know, when we talk about realizing the soul and realizing Almighty in a journey of meditation, of course, you can understand this cannot be possible by a physical procedure and a physical mechanism. This is possible only when the meditation is led by a divine force. So in Vihangam Yoga, I have personally experienced how the Vihangam Yoga journey is led by a divine force. That makes Vihangam Yoga very different from any other technique. And that divine force not only shape our spiritual journey, our spiritual experience, but it also starts shaping our physical journey of life. You know, when I was in IIT Kharagpur, my very first job, the way I landed, was the first proof that our able master is not only capable of guiding us in our spiritual journey, but he can write our destinies. I would take 2 minutes of time to just tell that with the conviction that I have about how Sadhguru works with his devotees. You know, I was preparing for my first interview in my IIT Kharagpur job, and the moment I was stepping out of the room, my hand touched a book, it fell down, I opened it, I saw a chip configuration. When I stepped out, I saw a person coming towards me and just speaking about one puzzle that he wanted to solve. And on the way, I was thinking that, you know, the very first question that I'm going to get is, tell me something about yourself. After speaking about that, I'm going to also add that, and I inherited the attribute of honesty and commitment from my parents. So all that mental preparation I was making while I was on the way for the interview. And you know what was the very first question for the interview? Tell me something about yourself. The way I thought. I spoke about it, but I forgot to add that I inherited the attribute of commitment and honesty from my parents. And I was surprised. The very next question that the interviewer had was, okay, tell me something that you inherited from your parents. This was very unlikely. I have never seen an interview that would go in that track. And I said that, yeah, I inherited the attribute of commitment and honesty from my parent. And you'll be surprised, the very third question was, okay, tell me the chip configuration of 8085. And that was the moment I realized that this interview is being driven by somebody else, some divine forces. It cannot be such a coincidence that the series of questions will be same that I was already shown. And the very next question was the same puzzle that the person was, you know, kind of struggling to solve, and I happened to know it beforehand itself. And the story didn't end here. Then the came year 2007 in Bangalore, when we organized a program for Sadhgurudev to come in Bangalore for the first time. And from the stage, Sadhguru Susandev Maharaj, the present divine master of Vihangam Yoga, said in front of thousands of attendees that what a great coincidence. The souls who were before scattered at different places have come together at one place. And these are the souls which the entity, the Sadhguru entity, had chosen to send abroad. And in few years, these souls are going to go abroad with the message of Vihangam Yoga. Now we all started looking at each other, who Sadhguru Dev is talking about. And then comes year 2008. And suddenly, for all of us, our own employer had certain changes in their assignments, in their projects. And we all were, some of us were in America, some of us were in Europe, some of us were in some other countries in Asia. We saw all that happening in front of our eyes, how Sadhguru is capable of designing our destinations in life. So from that day on, I knew that I don't have to worry for my life. My life is in able hand of Master. And this is the impact that Vihangam Yoga has given to me. Thank you so much. Sorry for longer time.
No, this was like, I wish like you went, further on and shared, more in detail, Vijayji, but it truly, gives a lot of answers. And definitely, the way you have described about, we all seek for happiness, and there are constant source of happiness. It's just that we don't know how to tap to it. There are things that are omnipresent. We live our life, if we take a common example, electromagnetic radiations are everywhere, but we can't perceive through our eyes, but it has a very deep impact. We are sitting in a place while gravitation is always acting upon us, but we don't realize. So similarly, the way you have defined that the Sadguru energy it's omnipresent, and it has, that capability to design our destination and guide us to a path that we all want to be, and trigger the transformation journey among ourselves. So with that, I would like to ask, I believe, Suryaji is back. Suryaji, I just wanted to confirm if you're in a position to talk now, Suryaji.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I wanted to, we all are very curious, about one question. Probably when you're away, even Vijayji has touched about that. We all have a question. At the age of 77, you're so energetic and so young. What is the reason behind of your youthfulness? If you could, share, and what does yoga, plays in that role to have that stage or state that you are in, Surya, Auntie.
Oh, thank you, Rakesh ji. It is at this age, I am not looking young. It is so nice of you to say that. But I believe age is just a number. Even though I am 77 years, I feel I am in 40s physically and mentally. It is very simple. I think it is all attitude. Basically, how you are feeling, how you are living. Practicing yoga has a lot to do with maintaining a positive attitude. Yoga alone cannot show us a path of peace and happiness. It alone helps us in developing our personality, and also sound helps us in developing our personality, and also sound helps us in developing our personality.
I believe we are still facing some,
I can close this.
Auntie ji, if you want to turn off your video, that is still okay. Maybe like that is taking little bandwidth in the call. Audio was a lot clearer. If you want to turn off your video.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So I'm.
Yeah, Auntie ji.
Video, no? Can I? Okay.
Yeah.
So, it is, I'm not looking young. It is so nice of you to say that. But I believe age is just a number. Even though I am 77 years old, I feel I am in 40s physically and mentally. It is very simple. I think it is all the attitude. Basically, how you are feeling, how you are living. Practicing yoga has a lot to do with maintaining a positive attitude. Yoga alone can show us a path of peace and happiness. It alone helps us in developing our personality and also sound and disciplined life. A sound body and a sound mind goes hand in hand. Asanas are necessary to make the body pure and holistic. Pranayam is necessary for purification of mind. Meditation is also to purify the chit of consciousness.
Thank you so much.
I said all this.
Yeah.
I said all this to let you know the power of yoga, breathing exercise, and meditation. I am doing all these exercises for the more than 3 decades. After coming here to USA, I stopped due to some personal problems. Now again, I started for the last 7 years. I also teach yoga, meditation, breathing exercise, and chair yoga daily through the Zoom. That may be the reason I am energetic, healthy, happy, and joyful. Thank you. Back to you, Rakesh ji.
Thank you so much, Auntie Ji. And I think you have shared the secret, about your youthfulness and the discipline that you're adhering in your life, and the kind of commitment, that you're having, and the impact that yoga is, bringing to your life. So it's really wonderful to hear from you on that. Uh, uh, I think keeping time constraint in our mind, I would like to move to my next question on everybody's behalf. And this is very interesting one, important one. I would like to, uh, direct this question to Vijayji if he's okay with that. Uh, and the question here is, yoga and yoga. You know, uh, it's little confusing. Like there's a little bit of, not little bit, there's a lot of ambiguity around it, right? And
Yeah.
it sounds like synonyms. Are the same? Are they different? What are your views, Vijayji, on that? If that's a question
Yeah.
we have. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Just like we know that the Ram become Rama, the Krishna become Krishna, yoga, people in English will say yoga. So though it sounds synonym, but unfortunately, in practice, in the name of yoga, what people have constrained this into is just a fragment of the complete set of practices that we do in yoga. Though in Vihangam Yoga, in English we call it Vihangam Yoga as well, but in Vihangam Yoga, or calling it as Vihangam Yoga, we truly keep yoga same as yoga. But what we see in practice today, the yoga has been confined just within the constraints of physical limits, physical practices. And it's not because people intentionally did that. It is primarily because people do not realize that the journey of yoga in entirety is not possible without a divine force. So Vihangam Yoga, or a true yoga, and a yoga that we know today in the world, has a huge difference of one factor. What is one factor? That factor is the divine Sadguru energy. Why yoga cannot go without Sadguru energy is very clear when we look at what is present or served to us in the name of yoga today. When the yoga happens without Sadguru energy, what you can go up to is some physical exercise, some pranayama, some mudra, which can make you physically fit and also a bit of mental well-being. But the journey of yoga was not supposed to be constrained for ensuring only your physical well-being or a bit of mental well-being. But the aim of yoga is a union. It is something like if you are given a, let's say, golden hammer. I'm just taking an example. If you're given a golden hammer in your hand and all you know is to use how to hammer with that tool that you got, without realizing that you have been given a heavy piece of gold, you end your entire life just using that hammer as a hammer for earning money. Or let's say you have a family member who is very sick, you really wanted urgent money, but all you know is how to use this hammer. So you're trying to beat that hammer to get some money, whereas you had this heavy piece of gold you didn't realize. The same is happening with us in our life. We have been given this golden piece of life. This piece of life has a source of happiness which is closed. It's called Brahma Dwar, which is closed by Kundalini. But we do not know how to really work on it, how to make Kundalini awaken, how to open the door of divinity, because the yoga that is served today is devoid of that Sadguru energy, which is required for this process to happen beyond the physicality. So Vihangam Yoga brings that missing factor in yoga. It adds that missing factor in yoga and makes it equal to what yoga truly means. So yoga truly means to liberate the soul from all suffering, detach the soul from all suffering of uncertainties of this physical life, and live in peace and harmony from inside. And eventually, even you get clutch on how you want to liberate from this cycle of life and death. It's up to your wish, up to your command, and make the life mission complete, because you coming into human life has a mission. And what is the mission? The mission is to end the suffering of the soul that you are, the suffering that it has because of the uncertainties of the karma, the baggage of karma that we have carried forward from the previous life. It is always biting us, and the life is always one or the other things that you didn't expect, you didn't plan, and it happened in your life. You can never live in peace if you really depend on those physical output that you get in your life. So all these riddles are resolved by a true journey of yoga. In the journey of yoga, where you learn how to control your mind, how to separate yourself from the dawn and the ups of life, and stay in peaceful state all the time with the mind completely in your control, no matter what happens around you. And then go beyond in this journey to open the secret 10th door and go beyond further to experience who you are from inside, and then further experience the divine force, the divine conscious energy that pervades through everything, after knowing which nothing remains unknown, after knowing which the soul becomes completely quenched for the thirst of happiness that it had, the thirst of peace that it had. So the yoga is that journey, whereas the yoga today has been constrained within the practices in the level of body and mind. That's the huge difference we see today. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, Vijayji, for bringing that clarity to us. And that was a very precise example of golden hammer. Uh, all we know is just hammering it and not realizing the true value of the what we have. And to relate with that, even when I read, we all have covered in some of our sessions also and earlier. Suraj verses actually talks and describes about all of the stages. When it says like Prabhu Prasad Sadguru Daya Mana Hoy Swadhin Anya Yukti Koi Nahi Lage Sadguru Charan Adhin. That means that that force, that the vital force, energy is required to elevate our consciousness. मन व पवन को पकड़कर योग युक्ति से बांध चेतन चेतन योग है सुरति निरति रत साध. And eventually Swamiji has said, नौ द्वारा को बंद कर खोलो 10वां द्वार खिड़की एकादश खुली अग्र पुरुष दरबार. So you have described those things in a manner that we can actually receive it with our level of knowledge. And keeping time in mind, I have a final question for you, Vijayji. And it's pretty, generic in nature, but I believe, listening from you will definitely benefit us. Do you want to recommend Vihangam Yoga to others, and why?
See, everybody's life is different, but personally to me, I really sometimes get surprised that when you already have available source of peace in the form of Sadguru energy, in the form of Vihangam Yoga journey, why people are so restless in their life? Why people are so bothered in their life? So the message from me out of my own personal experience is, if you really want to be dependent on an energy who can plan your destinations, who you can rely on and be relaxed in your life, worry free from all uncertainties of life, who can really command your future, then the Guru is here, the divine force is here. Why not grab this opportunity? दुर्लभ सदगुरु मिलन है, भाग्यवान नर पाए. सदगुरु खोजो शरण लो, दाव चूक नहीं जाए. You must not miss this opportunity. That's all I would say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vijayji. So yes, we should definitely look from that perspective that what we are capable of, what we have been given, and the potentials that we have within us to realize that the supreme energy, a supreme soul, and which is eventually the biggest goal that we all have. Thank you so much. Once again, keeping time in mind, we had planned, like, if any any questions that any participants want to have. But what I would recommend, we are going to keep this session open, so that the people who have planned for the time of that session, like, they're not compelled to be in there. So if you have any questions, you can remain in this call, and probably we will like to take up those questions. And now I would like to request Raj Uncle Ji to 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 give a thanks note to all of us, including all participant, all the speakers, and everybody who has tried to make this event as a event that all can benefit it from. So Raj Uncle Ji, if you can unmute and share a thanks note to all of us.
Thank you, Vijayji and Suryaji. They came from US to provide valuable information on Vihangam Yoga. Vijayji is the president of North America Institute of the Vihangam Yoga and a discipline from childhood. Suryaji is also disciplined in Sadhika. Thank you everyone from taking your valuable time for International Yoga Day session by the Vihangam Yoga. And we can forget the thanks for all organization and make this event wonderful and successful, to Vinodji, Nehaji and Rakeshji and everybody one else who made this session successfully. Thank you very much. Jai Sadgurudev.
Thank you, Uncle Ji. Truly, it was a great effort, and I would like to express special thanks to Neha Ji, to take a lot of initiatives. To move ahead, we want to formally go towards the conclusion of today's event, and that will be done through prayers, Vandana and Shanti part. The last 4 lines of each of that. So I would request Anuj to offer that prayer in feet of Sadgurudev. Anuj.
Jai Shri Gurudev, and thank you, Rakesh ji. Vanna. प्रभु कल्प संत समाज उत्तम सर्वधर्माचार्य है जिमिना दयाश्रित सिंधु के हैं विश्वपथ में कार्य है प्रभु सत्य शांत समाज तेरा आप रक्षा कीजिए जन सदा फल ज्ञान भक्ति वृद्धि दिन दिन कीजिए। शांति पाठ। हे प्रभु शांति स्वरूप हो शांति शांतिमय शांति 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 जन शांति हो पूर्ण शांतिमय शांति। हे प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर दूर हो सर्वय शांति देव सदा फल शांतिमय शांति शांति सुख शांति। जय शंकर।
Thank you so much, Anuj, for offering the prayer. So with that, what we had planned in this 90 minutes of today's event, we have covered. What we have left with is that if anybody have any question, they can remain in the call and we can discuss any, clarity if they want to seek with, so the senior practitioners available to us. Others who doesn't have a question, I know it's a Sunday morning. If you have, anything planned up, feel free, to go ahead and if you want to remain and discuss, you're welcome for that as well.
It will be a personal appeal from my end to everyone. Please feel free to open your heart and take this opportunity as a life transforming opportunity for you, because you need to there'll be a phase in life when you have to make a right decision in your life. What strives your life to happiness in true sense? What you're doing in your life, is that sufficient, or you really need to look out for something else in your life? If you have any questions regarding something around that, what should be the final destination of your life? What is the aim of coming into human life? You should discuss, we should all discuss openly about those so that we can carefully design the track of our life. Yeah, thank you.
Vijayji, I will take that opportunity to ask one of the question I have as a, as a seeker, as a participant. The question that I had, let's say that when we sort out, when we figure out that, okay, hey, there is a need of something for me to put effort and, try to, make a conscious effort to move in one direction. But what I have faced, or like probably it might be question for others as well, how to deal that anxiety or something, that okay, whether I'm heading in right path, right pace, is it, because there is no clear dashboard, or like where we can actually see that we have uh, where we can, I would say, uh, give a number, or like some sort of, like when we move in a speed, like in a car and all, we can measure that measurable thing. So the growth here is, it's a little difficult to measure if in always experience. And if at all, like mind try to tame us, how to deal with all that, if you could share some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. See, first of all, when you choose to lead a path which is, let's say, unknown to you, there will always be anxiety because it is unknown to you. All the restlessness and anxieties are actually rooted to being unknown about what is going to happen next. So when, let's say, you come to know, oh, here is a person who have already traded that path, have completed the entire journey and knows in and out. And now you got the company of that person. When you are in that, kind of association where you know that the people I am surrounded by and the lead who I am following has already traded that path, then suddenly all your anxieties about what is going to next is definitely going to go away. But in what track is that much of certainty and consistency? Is it in the physical track of life, or is it in the spiritual track of life? So if our aspirations of life has been limited to physical in nature, then I would say upfront that we can never attain a sense of relaxation and the peace and the happiness that we really wanted to have as part of our character. It will never become a possibility if we seek that in the physical dimension of life. So the first and foremost thing that must change in our pursuit is that please do not depend on the physical aspiration of your life for the peace and happiness, because the peace and happiness is never over there, never there. I'll be very blunt on that the peace and happiness that the soul wants to live in is never in the physical pursuit of life. So the first and foremost thing that must change is you must be unaffected. Even though something very bad happens in your physical pursuit of life, you must be unaffected. But what must you be affected of is if something does not happen, or your something happens in opposite direction in the spiritual pursuit of life. That should be the prime driving force of our life, the spiritual pursuit of life. So if there are two kinds of people, I know that the Rakesh ji asked already, by keeping that frame in mind, that his aspiration of life is the spiritual pursuit of life. But I wanted to bring forth this idea also for some of us who may still have our aspiration of life more physical in nature, not spiritual in nature. So a message for them, I just wanted to highlight in the Yoga Day celebration, is because we must change that mindset. Our aspiration of life should always primarily be spiritual in nature. Only when we shift our gear for the pursuit of happiness and peace from physicality to spirituality, It is only then we are heading to the right direction in our life. Now, when it comes to the spiritual journey, spiritual pursuit of life, again, here same thing applies. When you know that you have come to the shelter of an able master who says, Adbhut marg yog vihangam, मैं तुमको बतलाऊंगा. यदि विधिवत तुम साधन करी हो, अमर लोक पहुंचाऊंगा. This language is in Hindi, but what it truly means is that the responsibility of our journey in this path, in the spiritual pursuit of path, is not with us. Sadhguru has taken that responsibility. Authoritatively, he has taken that responsibility as if it is his arena. It is not our arena to decide the progress in the spiritual journey. It is his arena, and he knows the best what should be the pace of our spiritual journey, what should be the track of experiences, the ups and downs that we need to face. Sometimes the challenges that come in our way is not to discourage us, rather to strengthen us, prepare us from inside to ultimately reach to the destination. Because the only one who is truly untouched, undeviated by all miseries and challenges in life are ready for the spiritual flight. There is a spiritual flight. There is an aeroplane which is waiting for us to on board. But we are not going there because we are struggling with dealing or closing the deal of one or the other challenge. Do we really need to close all the deal of the physical challenge? Actually, no, because this physical life that we are leading, even though you leave something halfway, it doesn't matter. But what matters the most is if you leave your spiritual journey halfway. So please don't bother if there is some unfinished task in your physical life. Please do not bother. What you must bother is, are you really ready to onboard a plane which is waiting for you to take you to the destination which is full of peace and happiness? If you are getting ready for that, and if there is a master who is working with you to make you ready for that, then that's all you need. It's on that boss now. There is a boss in a company. Similarly, in the spiritual journey, the boss is that guru, and it is he who decides when and how he is going to onboard you into that plane. All that matters is he holding your hand or not? If you feel in one or the other way, and he will show the sign, he clearly shows the sign that he remembers you, he is holding your hand, he has not left you halfway, because he has taken the responsibility of your spiritual journey. If you have that assurance by one or the other sign in your life, then that's all you need. And if you ask me personally, you get that sign from the master, even physically. Let's say when you go for darshan with Sadhgurudev, Sadhgurudev will answer some of the things that was running in your mind, and you'll come to know, oh, Sadhguru is knowing everything about me. So there is nothing to worry about. Sadhguru knows everything about his disciple. That's the divinity that he carries. So when you are assured about it that the Guru is able and Guru is taking the responsibility of my journey, no matter where I am, how I am doing in the spiritual journey, what experiences I am going through, these are all insignificant then. All that matters is Guru still holding my hand or not? Because he knows what track he wants us to go through. Yeah, thank you.
You have beautifully answered, Vijayji. While you're explaining, I was just, getting the view. We have to remember that we are passenger, we are not the driver. And if anybody has to look for those measurable entities, is the driver, not the passengers of that. So it's very beautifully explained. And I believe, in summary, what Sadhguru is expecting from us is just a pure form of surrender and trust. So, and then rest all he will take care of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would, if anybody else have a question, it's a wonderful opportunity, to interact with Vijayji and get some of the questions answered. I'll be very greedy, if you give me opportunity, I'll make him sit for very long duration, but I'll not do that. And if anybody have any question, please, feel free, to, ask, even if you have any casual questions.
Yeah, Jai Sadgurudev Rakesh ji. I have a question.
Please.
This is Maya here from USA. With the same subject that Vijay ji explained, we have two sides of our life, physical and spiritual. And our desire, if it is towards the physical, there are limitations, spiritual. Even though being a spiritual side, sometimes the challenges come from our side, and maybe the person we are talking opposite to us. We know, being following this path, that each soul has their own karmas and sanskaras coming along with them, and your thoughts may not match to the other person. We know all these things somewhere inside. Still, when we are talking one time, two time, or three time, even to talk, lot of energy we have to consume ourselves to bring it out, that I know how the person think and how the reaction could come. And even though after a lot of thoughts you bring it, it happens. It's still how to keep that sahajta, and to accept. We know this is going to come. Everybody has that differences. We understand that, and we know this is about to come to me, this thought. That's why I took so much time to tell this or discuss this topic. But still what I'm hearing, I it's not uncertain. I know this could happen. Maybe some uncertainty, the extent it could come to you. But we know it is certain it's going to come. That's where you pause, you took time. But then how to keep that sahajta, that it's coming, and just accept it is there, and that sahajta is not there. I feel how to get there, to balance that uncertainty or certainty, but be sahaj with that. How to bring that, I don't know. That's my question.
No, again, thank you, Mayaji, for bringing these questions. Again, it also depends on the factor of I and the master, which is more prominent in our life. Is it I that is coming into picture first, or it is the guru that is coming into picture first? If the doership is something that you think, I am the doer of my life, and then suddenly you remember, oh no, guru is the doer, then there is a bit of unclarity in our life. When we spend little more time in seva, in Sadguru seva, in a span of 5 years, or some people take 10 years to realize this truth, that it is in the spiritual journey, it is definitely something which is happening with a blueprint. There is a blueprint which has been designed by the divine master. It's not easy to actually comprehend that in a short span of time. But as you spend longer with Vihangam Yoga Association, with Sadguru Association in the Seva, more prominently, you will realize that when you are in Seva, more in Seva, in a span of 5 years, some people take 10 years, but eventually when the dots will start connecting, then you will come to a conclusion that, oh, everything was pre-planned. It is not a coincidence that things are happening this way in my life or that way in some other people's life. When you start connecting the dots, you will come to a conclusion for sure. If you spend significant amount of time to see all those dots which finally connect, you will come to conclusion that not only our own individual journey is blueprinted by the master, but also the entire journey of this Vihangam Yoga spread in the globe is also blueprinted. Brahma Vidya Pracharaka, Sadguru ka jag kaam, kare karave tai ko soi seva shishya naam. So Swamiji says very clearly that the spread of Vihangam Yoga is already blueprinted by Sadguru. He knows when what soul has to connect in Vihangam Yoga. And when we go in this journey of Seva, where we take this Vihangam Yoga message to different people, you will definitely see different reactions from people, because maybe some people who we are trying to reach, they don't fit yet in the blueprint that is present or that is effective at that time span, at that period of time when we are putting this effort. Maybe we are hitting the wrong people at that moment of time. But then suddenly at the same place, there'll be a person who will walk himself to you, asking for what you are talking about. And then you'll come to realize, oh, that means I was sent at this place, not for these people for whom I was putting a lot of effort, but actually for the people who were supposed to walk to me at very same place, at very same time when I'm standing right now at this place. So things are really blueprinted about when a particular soul has to begin this spiritual journey of Brahma Vidya. Because Vihangam Yoga journey is not a physical procedural journey. It is a flow of energy that has started from the Brahma himself. Brahma Vidya hai Brahmaja, hai ye Ishwariya dhar. दबे न कोई शक्ति से Sadguru. It says that this Doha says that this flow of Brahma Vidya is straight from the Brahma himself. So it has to be driven by divinity and a divine energy. We being restless is only when we don't rely or we don't believe or don't have faith on that divine blueprint that is already being done or is being done constantly by the divine force called Sadguru. In fact, in one of the Amritvani, Sadguru Dev says, it is also pre-decided when an individual will complete first stage of meditation, when an individual will be initiated into second stage of meditation, when he will be promoted to the third stage of meditation, when to the fourth, when to the fifth. It is also blueprinted based on the kind of soul we are. You know, we think that our life has begun just in this span of time when we took birth in the current life. But the contribution of the decision that the Sadguru has made about us to move forward in this Vihangam Yoga journey, the input for that is not from the current life. The blueprint that he has created for each one of us, the input for that is not the current life. Otherwise, how would he decide when a person has to start this journey in Vihangam Yoga? because the input for that is our several previous lives effort, and that are so significant, so prominent, that it is enough for Sadhguru to decide when this soul should be initiated in the first stage, when this soul should be initiated in the second stage and third stage and fourth stage. And you will actually realize it more when you really look into how your habits are playing a role in your life. There are certain habits which are very difficult to leave, because all these habits that we show in our current life is not built just by our current life effort. It is all carried forward from previous lives. And all those sanskaras that we carry from previous life are so prominent, so effective in our current life, that it is easy for Sadhguru to comprehend a soul, what state of soul this is. Is he going to be eligible for all 5 stages of Vihangam Yoga in this life, or he will have to take another life for, getting promotion in the higher stages of Vihangam Yoga? So please be assured that our master knows the best what state of sanskara, what bundle of sanskara, what baggage of sanskara we have come with in current life. We need not worry about our progress. All we need to worry about is whether we are remaining in shelter of Sadhguru with complete faith and devotion or not. That's all matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijayji. That answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayaji. Maybe question comes from one person, but it benefits all of us. So I would say thank you for asking question on everybody's behalf. Do you have any other question that we want ask in today's connect? Feel free to unmute and